Hey, I'm Scott AT from Your Comedy Minute. I have a fantastic comedian named Teresa Degaetano. Did I say that right? I
You
still
did,
mess.
Scott.
Tell me,
Yes,
tell me, tell me if I did it right. I messed it up so many times.
you did it perfectly. Thank you.
Okay, I did my best. Now you're in New York, but I want the people to find out you're not originally from New York.
Correct. I am from South Central Pennsylvania, Scott. And we discovered you were born in York, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, yeah. And I saw your family had a livestock farm in Carlisle.
They did. They ran it for 40 years, Carlisle Livestock Market.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
your mom called you a heifer.
She certainly did, Scott. During the shutdown, I went and I left New York and I lived with them for 112 days. Who's counting? And so my job then was to work there 1 day a week. They had sales every Tuesday night, like the big auction
Right,
house.
yeah.
So I didn't grow up on a farm, but this is, very farming community. So I would
Sure.
work the front desk and give out the bidder tickets and the bidder numbers.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, "Oh, heifer is the name of a single, like a not married, no kids,
Right.
uh, a heifer." And I was like, "Oh, that's great. That's so uplifting, Mom. Thank you." And so I did a video every day for when I lived with them.
You
I
know,
had to take a break.
it's making sense now. I don't mean to interrupt, but I think it was like day 29 or something.
Yeah.
And now I realize what it's all about.
So I did it. I didn't do it every day because there was some stuff that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, let me take a break. And then I came back in, but I found something funny to talk about every day with my parents because there's a lot of funny stuff when you're a grown up living with your parents.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I bet that was a big twist, coming from New York back to Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
It certainly was. And just to see my parents, like, we're eating at 5 o'clock, 4:30,
Yeah.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's it. Kitchen's closed. I'm like, Dad, I'm not hungry. Well, you're gonna eat with us. Okay. Well, I guess like,
Yeah.
okay, come in
Yeah.
here, snack. Like it's yeah. But
Well,
it was crazy.
let's get back to the comedy because I want to start with when did you start doing comedy?
I started in about 2012.
Okay.
hmm
And
I
was
took
there, let me just ask because this is the question I always follow up with. Was there a catalyst why you started doing comedy?
I have an acting background, so I went to school
Okay.
for theater. And then when I moved to New York, I moved to New York when I was 25,
Okay.
and I was trying to perform, but it's hard to, I don't have a great singing voice
Okay.
or dance training. So I just
Neither do
needed
I. Da, 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 da. Hey, just what the world needs. Scotty T dancing.
my brother was like, you should write down the things that you say. It's very funny. You should try stand up. So I
Right.
took a class comic strip. That's how I started.
Okay.
hmm
And now, because I'm seeing this a lot, a digital creator, which means that because I was shocked today how many Facebook reels you have up. And
Oh,
I'm guessing now, are you on Instagram and TikTok as well?
yes, all
Okay.
of them. Mhm.
And I guess that leads me to the next question, which I have is do you enjoy doing the stand up more or do you enjoy? Because I really love your videos.
Thank
The
you.
St. Patrick's Day video, your latest video. I mean, I just love them.
Thank you very much.
Which do you enjoy doing one more than the other, or doesn't it matter? Just doing comedy.
I think just making people laugh, just in
Yeah.
general, that's a whole. I posted a video this morning, actually. That's a whole other ball game of it. The online,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and it's a whole nother job because
yeah.
film yourself at doing a set in front of
Right.
Saturday night set. It's great, but then you also have to kind of have other videos as well. So I
Yeah.
do my tales from the tables about
Right.
bartending.
I have
And
that written down, and there's some of those that are just because I guess you work at a restaurant that you do that?
yes, I work at a bar. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're bartender. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I love the one about leaving their coat behind, and I mean, you have
Oh,
so many great videos.
how Thank you, Scott. You did your research.
Oh
Thank
no,
you.
I'm gonna pull something out here in a little bit that's gonna, because I think it's my favorite bit you do.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Well, do you want me to do it? Should we just go into it?
Let's
I
go in.
love, and this is way back because I went to your YouTube channel. While we're doing this, I'll go your YouTube channel. You have 112 subscribers, 70 videos, 185,532 views, which is pretty doggone good.
Mhm.
But yesterday I was looking over, I even told you because we were conversing a little bit on Facebook Messenger that I was doing some research because I like to make sure that you're nice enough to come on my show. I want to make sure that I know what the hell I'm talking about. You did a bit about Dateline. Do you remember doing that?
Oh, that's one of my staples.
Oh my
Dateline.
God. Do you want to do that for the folks? That is just great stuff.
Well, the premise is about I don't watch those shows. I watch them with my parents because I live alone in New York City, and every episode women go missing.
Yeah.
That one, every single episode. Are we on the same Dateline bit? Is this
Yeah,
the same?
yeah. Because you
And
went
just
on that. Go ahead, keep going. Because my favorite part's coming up.
where I'm like, stop jogging alone for women at night in the woods. You're not coming back.
Right. And
Out a life insurance policy on you. Do not get on a boat with him. You're going to drown. There's a format to this, and it's usually like the boyfriend or the husband. That's usually. But I'm like, it's always a beautiful woman that goes missing. You
yeah.
know, that one. She's a beauty queen from 1997. It's
Well,
never a girl named Janelle going missing. Like
the
so.
reason I love it so much is because I love Dateline in 2020 and those things. But you're right. Always about 10 minutes in, I go, the dude did it. He
Yeah,
did it. He did it. He killed her.
it, and they always try to misdirect you, but you're
Yeah.
like, no, it's every time.
The boyfriend did it. Yeah, you can save a whole lot of time of watching this. Just go, the boyfriend did it.
Mhm. We really get into it as a society. Like I get scared, so that's why I don't watch those shows. But we love murder in America. We love a case, you know.
Teresa, I love a good rape joke. I'm kidding. I'm
I do
kidding.
have that one
I'm
on me.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I say that all the time just to mess people up. I've never done a rape joke. Never.
I have one. I do. I have
Oh,
one.
go ahead. Oh, good. Well, you can get away with it. Go ahead.
Oh, that one is just that like what to do when you don't carry mace late at night. And so I have a big aggressive walk that I do.
Right.
Um, and then I do walk very strongly. I have a strong gait for a woman. And so I got behind a large man and I scared him. And he was like, "Oh my gosh." And I said, I'm so sorry. It's just me," which is a random thing to say to someone you don't know. It's just me. And so then he was like, "Well, I know what it feels like to be a woman walking alone at night in the city." And I was like, "Well, kind of." And then I raped him. I said, "That's actually what it feels like to be a woman in the city." So that is, and I'll do that at the end if I that bit with something else like so.
My father used to say, "Can't rape the willing."
Yeah, that's
Can't rape the willing.
it's and it's awful that we have to joke about stuff like this too.
No,
But
it's not. No, it's not.
the humor in it, that it happens, so we have to joke about it. So
Well, I think today, and I'm going to go back to what you said earlier about whether making digital content, or TikTok videos or doing stand up. Man, I started this. I just want to make people laugh,
yeah.
and it's upsetting to me that I'll put stuff up on Reddit or somewhere, and they're like, "Get off the porch, you old piece of shit," and the things that people say to me. And
Mhm.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm not doing Trump Biden humor. You're getting this upset at me just because I'm doing a joke.
Yeah.
My God, what is wrong with you?
Well, people also need a hobby. I always
Yeah.
feel like someone is taking the time to comment negatively. Do you not have anything else to do
Yeah.
in your day that you have to comment on someone else's,
It's so
thing?
easy to swipe too. It's so easy to swipe away. Why do you have to?
Mm.
Again, I told you I hate when I talk too much, but I just want to tell you this real quick because I think it's funny. I did a joke about my daughter just said I'm a terrible father. And I don't know why she'd say that. I only met her once. And believe it or not,
Mhm.
That joke wasn't up on YouTube for 5 minutes, and some lady laid in my ass saying what a terrible man I am. And 5 minutes later, there's another lady that got in her ass saying, no, it's true. There's a lot of men that don't. And right there was that I said, that's what it's come down to.
Uh-huh.
And really, it's just a joke. I don't even have a daughter that I
Did you
know
write
of.
did you write that underneath? It's a joke. I don't even have a daughter. Did you
I
write
did
that?
eventually because it's like, well, they do that a lot.
Well, and you can see it's very clearly a joke. Like it's a quick one-liner. It's a great joke. And I laughed. And it's like people take things too to heart. Like it's a joke. Like we're allowed to laugh at
I think if
things
it
that are
hits, I think if it hits them personally,
uh-huh.
I just did one the other week should I do it? You
Yeah,
want me-
do it.
All right, all right. Because this woman, in other words, I go to the supermarket every week. I go to the supermarket. I've been going there for a long time. And I said to her, what do you give a dead baby for his birthday?
Oh.
A dead puppy. And she told me never to talk to her again.
Oh, was she working at this supermarket?
Yeah, oh
Or
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, she works at the deli. She cuts my meat all the time. Not anymore. She don't even look at me. She don't like me.
you gotta go to somewhere else that you
No,
gotta go.
I think that joke hit home. There must have been a dead baby somewhere in her past. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no. You're now
I'm
the customer
sorry.
she refers to as the dead baby man. Or the dead here comes
Yeah,
a
there
dead
he is.
puppy.
That's the guy.
Yeah,
That's
dead puppy.
that's
Oh
the guy.
god.
That's the
Oh
guy.
gosh. That is funny.
Well,
That
let's
is.
move on because I want to make sure we cover because you are playing some really big shows in New York. I mean, you're playing some big places now.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying. The comedy
Yeah,
hustle.
yeah. Well, I think you said something too, where it's not just the stand-up bit, but you almost have to have an online presence as well.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Because bookers, like, they'll check your followers and see how many followers you have, and I'm trying to build that, and it's all about consistency and posting and putting your stuff out there.
yeah. I was shocked today because again, I got up and I was trying to, with one bloodshot eye, scroll through your reels, and you have a ton of reels on Facebook.
I do. I try to post a few times a week so I don't get
Right.
burnt out from it,
Right.
but my friends who have built kind of a very large social media presence, they're like, you have to post it regardless. Like, don't get in your head if you think it's funny or not. Because I get in my head, like, oh, is
Oh
this
yeah.
funny? Even should I even bother posting this? But a lot of times that's what hits.
Yeah,
When you tell people,
I love the last couple where I guess you're at the bar or doing bits about the bar that I just
hmm
love. Your St. Patrick's Day one I loved. I mean, there's just so many that you do, and I'd recommend doing those as often as you can. I love those.
thank you. They're very easy for me to do because I'm not very tech savvy. So
Right.
learning how to do all this stuff, you kind of have to teach yourself everything. But it's just me to the camera, which makes
Yeah.
it, easy to edit. And I got to do it before the customers get there and the table that has the good lighting. I was like, I got to go to the good lighting
Yeah,
table
you
before
look great. You look great in them. Yeah, and
out.
Teresa, I'm 61 years old, and I'm being 100% honest with you. I was so pleased you see about being tech savvy that I
Mhm,
finally learned how to be able to do these. I've always wanted to do these Zoom meetings because I thought they would be great.
mhm,
Me interacting with a stranger like you and I've never met,
mhm,
and that interaction and the spontaneity of it. And I finally was able to, okay, well, I got the equipment now. I got a hard drive and I learned how to do it. And I'm the same way with I do your comedy minute quickies. And what
mhm.
I do, what I do is I write down, 10 jokes and I go out my porch and I shoot all 10.
That's great.
Well, because like you said, then I can just every day share to
Mhm.
Facebook, share to Instagram, share to X, Twitter, because that way I'm at least being out there every day.
And then you meet, like, you get into so many people's, like, you reach, that's what I'm trying to say, you reach so many people that way, more
Oh
so
yeah.
than doing a show and having 50,
100,
70
yeah,
people. Yeah.
100 people, yeah.
uh
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of people that don't like me.
Well, you know what? You're going to ruffle a few feathers along the way.
Oh, I ruffle some feathers.
So that's all about it too. And I mean, I get sick of looking at my own self where I'm like, oh God, another video.
Oh,
But I'm like, hey, you just never know, and self promotion. So if, a booker or someone or an agent is looking at you and you're like, yes, you can go to my page and there's
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
I have. So,
yeah. It's something that I guess because I worked in the music business and I used to
hmm
promoted Cheap Trick and promoted Dave Matthews and promoted Kiss and all these bands. So now for me to do it myself, promoting myself, it feels kind of odd.
yeah,
And you said
it's,
about watching yourself, man, I have to edit these down and it's brutal for me to why. And I always say, I'm like, you talk too goddamn much, you know? Oh, I beat myself up something fierce.
oh, there's the Pennsylvania coming out of you, something fierce. Oh, I grew up with, oh, wait, because I can hear the PA in your voice. Are you still
Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, shitter's full.
okay? Because I grew up with the something fierce, and I try to explain that, and that doesn't, I don't hear that in New York, but there we go. I
Yeah.
got,
Well, you may hear a couple more, God knows. Um, so I guess my question is, do you plan on doing this for the rest of your life? Is this now something that that's it? This is what you want to do?
that's a great question. I will do it till I don't get tired or stop enjoying it. If I stop
Yeah.
enjoying it,
Yeah.
then I stop doing it. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I feel about it. Because there's funny stuff that I want to write about. I want to,
Right.
perform about, and I want to do an album this year. That's a goal of mine.
Good. Good.
Maybe in October, hopefully. And so that's a risk that makes me nervous, putting my stuff out there. But, you know, the business part of it, you have to, stay active and stay on top of it. And I genuinely enjoy making people laugh, especially women my age. If I see them in the audience and they are laughing, I know I'm doing a justice. I know I'm reaching my audience who I'm trying to speak to.
Well, Teresa, I want nothing but if I could get nothing but female comics on here, that would do that.
Oh,
That's what I want. As a matter of fact, if you know, Nancy is the one that turned me on to you. Her interview's coming up this week, and I'm appealing to all female comedians because I just love female comedians, and I think I'm sick of the male comedians that think that they run the roost, and
uh,
a lot of them are crap.
mhm.
And I look at stuff that you're doing that you're just as funny, and I guess I just like the female perspective.
Well, thank you. Thank
No,
you.
I'm
Well,
being sincere too. I'm being honest.
mhm.
I told Nancy this, and I'll tell you this. My favorite boss of all time was a woman.
Oh,
And ironically, her name was Nancy Levin.
it was Nancy your boss?
No, Nancy Levine is the
Oh, yes.
yeah.
I,
But it was
yeah.
Nancy Levin when I worked for Red Ant Records.
Uh-huh.
And she was a great boss. And I guess that just always stuck with me. I seem to get along better with women.
I think women, I mean, I think female comics, I mean, I think that we're great.
Yeah,
And
no,
I
you are.
yeah, that we have a lot of stuff to say. And our approach is going to be different,
Yeah.
especially if we're doing it for a while. And men will laugh as well, because if they're on a date, let's just say they're taking their
Yeah.
wife out or
Yeah.
girlfriend and they're laughing, they're going to laugh as well. So it's nice to see the female perspective being,
I think Teresa funny's funny.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I don't care who as long as I always say it's what's coming out of my mouth.
Uh-huh.
I know I'm not the best looking. I mean, my God, I'm 61 years old. Look at me. I look like an old frog, but I don't
You
give a
don't.
shit.
You don't.
I love doing humor,
Yep.
and I will tell you, I'm gonna do this. I don't plan on living much more. I'd be lucky if I get through this interview, but I plan on doing this till the day I die.
How most people feel, where it's like if you really enjoy it, you have to really enjoy it, because you don't always make a lot of money at it. So you have to
I haven't
really
made
enjoy.
a damn penny. I haven't made a damn penny.
Yeah. It's hard to explain to people, like my coworkers at the bar. If I bartend on a Saturday night, I'm making a
More,
lot more
more
than I do
money.
if I go to do a show. Like, I won't say how
Yeah.
much, It's a
Yeah.
lot more. And
No, no,
so,
and I was monetized by Google there for a minute, but she did the old, Wizard of Oz man behind, and now I'm not monetized. And,
oh
I
no.
just stopped. I stopped giving a shit. I
Uh-huh.
stopped giving a shit about the numbers. I stopped giving a shit. And not to sound arrogant, but I love what I'm doing now, where I'm welcoming people to come on and tell me their stories about their, first comedy bit, and their, what their goals are. And, I'll tell you this, I plan on staying with you till you get your album out. In other words, we're going to do another one of these if you want in,
Okay, great.
a couple months and check out and see how you're doing because, again, I just think it's important to have an avenue for comedians to come on and talk about the craft and talk about, you know,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel that you're getting better the longer you're doing it?
I do. I definitely do. And I think that that's how it should be with anything. And your viewpoint changes.
Right,
Stuff that I'm talking about now is not stuff that I was talking about, 5 years ago,
right,
or because I'm changing and we're constantly changing and evolving. And where we are in life is changing. And so there's things that I feel like I'm definitely getting better at. I know I need to write more, like just sit down and write more. And that's where
right.
the whole social media thing comes in, where then you're spending a lot of time,
Yeah.
on that as well. So,
Do you want to do one of your favorite bits from, currently that you would do on stage? Go ahead and do a bit.
oh my goodness. Well, some quick one-liners that if
Go
the
ahead.
audience is on point, where I'm like, oh, I keep a food journal, it's full, something like that,
That's
like
great.
a quickie. And I've got some stuff I've been doing some online dating. So I've got some stuff about Hinge, how, they ask, what do you like to do for fun? And I'm like, oh, well, I like to sleep. You can't answer them honestly.
Right, right.
Or, I like to go to the grocery store. I get home, take a bite of all my groceries before I put them in the fridge, or just like little things that, with dating. And then men are funny because when they hear you do stand up comedy, they're like, oh my gosh, no way. I've always wanted to try stand up. Oh, I'm like, stick to finance, Doug. Like, stick to what you're good at. Like, all the guys always think that they want to like try it. And then if we go out, they're like, you better make me laugh. And I'm like, well, you better pick up the check then, if
Yeah,
that's what we're doing. So, but nobody splits the check anymore. Usually, or nobody, like, everyone splits the check, I should
yeah.
say. So, so working on that and then my bartending stuff. And
Well,
yeah.
I want to tell you that one is because that's what happens with me. Again, I've done a lot of drinking and a lot of drugs, and plus I'm just dumb as shit. Um, but when you started talking about dating sites, I like that joke about I just saw my ex-girlfriend's profile on Hinge, and it's bullshit. She's not fun to be around. I love that joke. I just love that joke.
It is funny what people write about themselves. We're like,
Oh my
oh,
gosh, yes.
flexible. Oh, you're not financially. Oh, the one time I dated this guy off eHarmony, really nice guy. He was a good dude, but he checked like social smoker on his, he checked. And I went to his apartment and he made me dinner, like, a few dates in. And I was like, oh no, you are a legit smoker. Like it smells like smoke in here. You have an ashtray. Like, and he like tries to smoke out the window. I mean, this is like, this is 8 years ago or however long ago it
Right,
was.
right.
But I was like, so you smoke? And he's like, well, I was like, no, you're a smoker. You're just
Yeah,
like,
bud. Yeah, don't. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh, okay, my clothes are gonna smell like smoke. Okay, like so that was funny. Where I was like, you can't hide it for that long. Like eventually the truth will come out.
Yeah, I love do you like to exercise? Yeah, and I take a look at the profile. I'm like, the only exercise she gets is putting the chips in the dip. That's it. Yeah, I remember a buddy of mine was on Plenty of Fish.
Oh
And
yeah.
oh my
Mhm.
God, we used to laugh and we would send each other the profiles and be like, look at this critter.
Oh well, there's just it was funny. I was talking about this where guys will get like too overly sexual right away.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
this happened to me on Friday. Like messaging back and forth with the guy. And then he was like, "Oh, I'm in a king size bed, me and my dog, room for one more." And I like kind of just like shuffled over that. And I was like, "Well, I'm available this weekend if you want to grab coffee or something." And he said, "Well, how do you feel about a first date in bed?" No, okay? Like, no, we're not there yet, okay? Like we're
Hey,
doing like
Should I call you or nudge you?
Yeah, I was like, "Oh," and so I was like, "Well, you obviously feel pretty good about it." But it's just I'm trying to separate the 2 of, like, the dating and the comic because I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ha ha," but no, actually, you're too
No,
far. You're like, "Read the room, buddy."
yeah.
So,
Well, you
yeah.
know what's happening to me right now, and I'm not exaggerating. I wouldn't shit you're my favorite turd. I'm sorry. No. Uh, over on Threads, I have
Mhm.
gone from like 100 followers to now almost 10,000 followers, and
Oh,
they
wow.
and they're all women
Uh-huh.
that want to pig butcher me. If you know that term, have you heard that?
Okay, I can figure out what it is. They
They
like
want to fatten me
troll.
up and then take my money. And I'm having a lot of fun with it, to be honest with you, because they're like, "Hey, handsome," I'm like, "You need glasses." Hey, handsome, or hey, good looking. What the hell's wrong with you? I'm an old 61-year-old, and I mean they're all skimpy. I'm like, it reminds me of the guy with you, where like, are you kidding me?
Oh, that's really funny that they do that on Threads. I guess
Well,
no
and,
one.
and they jump over on Instagram. Go over to Instagram and chat with me on Instagram because my Instagram numbers are blowing up.
Oh, so they just come in. That's interesting. I didn't know about that.
I didn't either.
Well, I thought it was bit
but
butchering.
but I have like 9,000 girlfriends on Threads.
Well, hey, listen, they're loving some of you, Scott. You know,
Well, there's a whole lot of me to love.
keep the one-liners coming. You've
I
got
got
to.
some red hot loving cooking in the oven. Well, look, we're not gonna have we don't have a whole lot more time, but I want to make sure we cover everything that you want to talk about as far as upcoming gigs or stuff that you got. And you say you want to got an album you want to do by October. Uh,
Yes, I'm looking October 13th, hopefully.
okay,
Oh, and so that's just going to be some preparation, getting everything together, tightening
okay,
it up, as they say.
right,
So yeah,
sure,
and I MC a lot of gigs and perform a lot of gigs in the city,
right.
and yeah. So a dream would be, I think, like a warm up comic gig. I would really enjoy that.
Well,
So
I think you have the potential to do whatever you want to do. You're a really bright, funny lady, and you bring the exuberance and the excitement. I think you're going to go far.
well, thank you, Scott. I appreciate that, fellow
Now,
Pennsylvanian.
I'm going to do everything I can to help. I'm not again. I hate when I talk, but I got fired from my job for telling jokes,
Oh,
and I'm in a position, as I said, I'm going to be 62 in August.
mm-hmm,
Start collecting. So I own my house. I don't have a lot of wants or needs. And at this
mm-hmm,
point, I just want to make people laugh and have people and do nice things like help people out, like
mm-hmm.
helping you or helping every comedian that comes on here to do my best to, because I have been lucky with social media, with YouTube and Instagram and these places where I have a pretty good foothold. So
Yeah.
if I can help, I'm going to help.
Well, thank you, Scott. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. My pleasure.
What job did you get fired from for telling jokes? I have to ask.
Let me tell you something. You have good material when HR calls you in.
Oh yeah. See, some.
There was a batch of them. Something about bait and hooks at the I became a master baiter or something. I was baiting fish hooks
Oh
and
yeah. Mm-hmm.
no whatever. No, it was bullshit. Yeah, I was working at Lowe's. I'm semi-retired and came home here to York, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like you. I ended up coming back to York, PA, and um, I took a job at Lowe's just to get me out of the house, and before you know it, I got fired for telling jokes. So, but actually, looking back, it was probably the best thing that happened to me because
But
now I'm laughing and I'm
loved you.
laugh I'm laughing and enjoying my life.
Yeah.
I,
And yeah.
I call it the crumbs of joy. Today, Teresa, you are my crumb of joy. The
Oh,
crumbs of joy you can steal from each day, and you're providing that for me.
oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, Scott. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that's
I'm
why we
not. Yeah, I love having you here. But you know what time it is, don't you?
game time. What tea time? What time is it? Time.
No, it's your comedy minute time.
Oh, my
You know,
comedy minute.
do you know what that is? Because every time I do this, everybody says, well, I don't know just something that makes you laugh. I don't care what it is. Guy throwing up at the bar, guy puking on himself. I don't care.
Mm. All right, my comedy minute. Okay. Let's see here. I'm like, maybe I should do one of my tales from the tables.
There you
Uh,
go.
so we'll do one. People always come in when they okay, so I get some construction workers that come in. And
Right.
so I work at a craft beer bar, and the one guy was going to order a Bud Light. And I was like, I'm sorry, we don't have that. And his friend was like, oh, that's a pussy beer. Okay. And
Right.
I kind of hate when people use that term like
Yeah.
that, because like, oh, and he's like, don't be a pussy. And I was like, oh, do you give birth? Because are you tough? Because that's what pussies are. They're very tough. They're very strong. Okay. I know that it's not referred to that. And then the guy got his I called him out on it. And then the guy
Right.
felt so construction worker felt very bad about it. He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." And now every time he comes in, he leaves me an extra $20. So I'm like, who's the pussy now? So just turning the, turning the
That's
tables.
great.
So, thank you.
That's a great comedy minute.
Comedy minute.
You
So
straightened him right out. You said, buddy, I'll put a shoe in your ass. Say pussy one more time. Say pussy one more time, you rat prick.
it was funny because I looked at them and I was like, oh, I gotta say something. They had their
Yeah.
helmets on bar. I was like,
Yeah.
not today. And so
Man,
now we get along great. It's very funny.
that's great. That's great. Well, listen, if it's okay, hang out for a second. I'm going to stop the recording. You sure we covered everything?
I think we did. I think
Okay.
it follow me on my social medias
Yep.
for content, and check out the clips I post
Yep.
doing stand up and just everything. I just wanted to make it a fun page where people go there and laugh and can
I'll make sure to include all the links.
Okay.
And thank you again. You're my crumb of joy for the day. Hang out for a second. I'm going to stop the recording. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott.
It was my pleasure. If I can figure out how to stop the damn thing. There it is.